Hey y'all, happy Friday. So I got a question for y'all. Um, who determines what a woman's worth is? Like, who gets to determine if she's valuable or not? Um, if she's eligible for a good man or not? Um, who gets to determine what her quality of life is? And things like that. And the reason why I'm asking this question is because lately there have been a lot of women that I know that are having problems or issues with men. And the biggest problem is we measure ourselves by what a man says, right? It's almost like men have been able to determine everything about us, basically, right? It's almost like their word is the end all be all. They get to decide whether we're whores or not, even though they slept with as many people as we slept with. You know, they get to determine whether or not we're a good wife or not, even though some of their qualities is way worse than any qualities that we have. It's like so many men are out here with these videos telling women that they're not worthy. This person will never be with you. Like, if you have children, you'll never get a man. Like, if you're not married, they measuring you, regardless of not whether you're married. So if you get to a certain age or whatever and you're not married, so all of a sudden, men mostly, or can I say initially would be like, oh well, why she's not married? Like, what's wrong with her? This, that, and the third. And that thing has trickled down to women. You know what I mean? We have started to do that to each other now. Like, she ain't got no husband. Listen, I could just say a whole lot about that. A whole lot. I don't want to piss nobody off and argue with nobody, but I'm just going to tell you this. Having a husband don't mean a goddamn thing. It don't mean you better than nobody else. It doesn't mean that this woman is not as qualified as you. It doesn't make your status any better or whatever the case may be because you have a husband. Because a lot of these situations in marriages are in terrible states. A lot of them are in terrible states. And I'm not saying that to bring anybody's marriage down. I've been married before and mine was in a terrible state and I stayed for a very long time. It will never happen again. But what I'm saying, I say that to say is that don't look down on women because they're not married. Don't look down on women because they don't have children. So it's kind of like we're measured by if we have children, if we have a husband. Those are the two major things. You could be blind, crippled, and crazy. You know what I'm saying? But if you have those two things, it's almost like that's used as some type of barometer to some type of scale to like measure you on. So you hear some women saying things like, and this was me. I was one of those women probably about 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Like, what's the matter with me? Like, if I can't keep a man and things like that, and I would measure myself by that. I studied and grew up some years in the Nation of Islam, and basically you were measured, what I'm saying, by what a good wife and a good mother that you were. So in my mind, if you wasn't a good, or if you didn't have no husband, basically, you know what I'm saying, you were not as valuable as the women who did, right? So there is a huge problem with us women when we buy into that concept. When we buy into the concept of a man gets to decide our worth, right? Because a lot of times if you look at the situation and you'll be like, why I couldn't keep a man, this, that, and the third. A lot of times the man wasn't worth keeping. And that's the honest to God truth. This is not to bash no men or nothing like that. The honest to God truth is a lot of those men were not worth keeping, and you shouldn't have had them in the first place. Right? But then we'll measure ourselves because that relationship didn't work, or the relationship before that didn't work, instead of looking at ourselves and being honest and saying, I shouldn't have been with that person in the first place. This person was not worthy of me in the first place. This person had issues or whatever the case may be in the first place. So when you look at the root cause of it, it's like women, we need to look at the root cause of the situation and just stop blaming ourselves like, oh, I must not be this or I must not be that. No, they wasn't shit. No, they were not the one for you. Not you. Yes, there are some women, you know what I'm saying, who contribute, to these relationships or whatever the case may be. But the problem, one of the biggest problems is men get to dictate, or they have been dictating. You know what I'm saying? Our worth. We have allowed them to say who we are, what we are. Like, when you listen to the songs and then, you hear them talking about, tell that hoe this and, bring that hoe over here and this, that, and the third. Who did this word come from? How do you get to call me a hoe? Like, who are you to get to call me a hoe? Because you have slept with just as many people. So I'm wondering, where did it come from? Maybe somebody can help me. Comment. Let me know, where did it come from that a woman can be degraded by the amount of people that she has slept with, but a man can't? Yes, I want to discuss. The majority of us women, we know we live in a patriarchal dominated system that is quickly changing, though. That is quickly changing because women are being on top of everything, literally. So I just think that, this video didn't have no rhyme or reason, meaning like, no direction. It was just a lot of thoughts that I have. And that is, women, we really, really let these men just talk about us. We let them call us names. We let them call us names for having different fathers for our children, even though they got 5, 6 baby mamas. So it's like, how is it that you get to determine my worth or belittle me because of that situation, but you got the same thing going on? But we have bought into that. And once you buy into that, then now you start feeling all down and feeling all bad and let people judge you. Don't let nobody judge you. Don't let nobody judge you. Who the fuck are they, men or women, to talk about your lifestyle? Nobody knows where you've been. Nobody knows how you grew up. Nobody knows what your circumstances were. And 9 times out of 10, these people who are judging and talking got way more shit in their closet than you. Way more shit in their closet than you. So I just wanted to say that. I think somebody needs to hear this. I think a lot of women needs to hear this. A man is only going to do to you what you let him. And he's going to pay attention to how much you let him do. How much you let him get away with. And once he figures out how many buttons he could push, a lot of them going to push every last one of them. And it's up to you to decide your worth and understand that you don't have to accept that at all. These are hard-ass lessons that I learned. Hard as hell. Had to learn these lessons, but when that light bulb went off in my head, it never went back out. It never went back out. It's like we buy into the whole, there's a shortage of men. That is not true. That is not true at all. We buy into this concept because it's like, oh, there's 3 to 4 women to one man, this and the third. And 9 times out of 10, that is the case because It's like these men could be with somebody, but then, there's tons of women that'll still be with them too. And some of them got husbands as well. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not judging anybody's situation. I done been in a lot of situations myself, and enough situations myself, but I've been in enough to know to not let a man judge me, to not let a man put me down for my children, how many y'all have, if they got different daddies or whatever the case may be. Nigga, fuck you. Because you don't get to decide my worth for that. You don't get to decide that for me. And a lot of women need to get that through their head. Stop letting society, you know what I'm saying, the media, people in your family, definitely people in your church, judge you based on those things when they got all them skeletons in their own closet. It's all about how we see ourselves. I was definitely a woman who did not love myself, and I did not have a clue how. It almost cost me my life to learn how to do that, but I learned. And I will never be that woman again. I will never be in that position again to allow a man to treat me like that. We should be out here loving and respecting each other equally, but not allowing people to stomp all over us and letting other people determine our worth. Gotta love yourself, women. For me, I literally had to Google it. Maybe about 11 years ago or so, I literally had to Google how to love yourself because I didn't know how. I didn't know how, but I learned. And you will too.